These are very common, very important tools when it comes to cable stripping. If you're talking about this cable here, you know, this is a stranded cable, or these single core cables, or what we refer to as solid conductors, then we can pick a tool which will definitely help us with that. When it comes to the multi-stranded cable such as this one, we can use a lot of tools right here. So which one is the best tool? We're going to see into that. We also discuss about the switches, which switch is best for us to use and for what purpose. This is a two-way, or what the it's referred to as a three-way. So we have the common, and we have these two connection for the travelers, where the two switches will definitely be linked together. This switch is the same as this one, but not the same as this one. Now, using this digital multimeter, we'll be able to come up with that difference. We will also be discussing about the UK socket. This is a twin socket. We also have a single socket, single UK socket. So today we will learn a lot when it comes to that. We will also be touching on a lot of types of switches. This is also another one. The front looks like a one gun. On the back is intermediate switch, or what is referred to as a four-way. Okay, and we also have a very important switch here. From the back, what you can see is that, but that is just a snippet. What is this switch? What is it for? See, it's a UK switch. What is the full name? Just by looking at it from the back, let me know if you really understand that. We have tackled the Wago connectors in our previous video. Check it out. I will also be linking it on the description so that you can be able to learn a lot when it comes to that. On this table, we have several tools for stripping. I like this one. I don't know whether you also prefer it. It also has the gauges for the wires that you are supposed to strip. We have the 14, we have the 12, we have the 10, we have the 8. AWG. What is AWG in full though? So this is a very important tool, very handy, especially for DIYs. If you are looking forward to, getting into electrical, this is very important. I remember when starting, I would strip with this one, and I had a lot of challenges, especially when it came to stripping cables, such as this one, the ones which are twin together with an earth right there. And this is a nose. Nose is very handy, especially if we are stripping or we are cutting these wires while we want to connect to switches such as these. All right, so that is what we do. This comes in handy, especially if you are using these for that purpose. All right, yeah. And then we do have the normal pliers. You can see at this point. So this pliers is very, very important. Okay, the main purpose of the pliers, in many cases, you find that it will twist, it will cut the wires, it will twist it, and all that. And so it is also very, very helpful. So we're also going to talk about that. So basically today we're discussing about those important tools right here. Right. So let us go right in and definitely work on that, isn't it? Right. So my name is John Gatehi, and this is definitely Top Boss Electricals. This is a one channel where you will learn a lot of electrical installations, a lot of electrical practicals. So today we are discussing about stripping cables, and you find that we have different wire sizes. For instance, we have this as a 1.5, and these are single core cables. So you know, very important for us, especially to learn. So where are you watching me from? Thank you so much for joining in, and also welcome to our today's stream. So here I have several cables that I would like us to talk about. We have the stranded cables, we have the single cables, we also have cables that we refer to them as twin with earth and the likes. All right, let me just adjust my camera so that I can be able to get that value. Yeah, so if you are getting value out of our today's live stream and you expect a lot, then smash the like button, and if you have not subscribed, kindly subscribe. So this gauge is what gauge is this? You know, based on American wire gauge, this is definitely a 10 AWG, which in many cases you'll find that it is actually a 6.0 mm. So we have 6.0 mm. We also have 10 AWG. So what is the difference between AWG and mm? AWG is the American wire gauge. Mm is definitely the cross-sectional diameter, all right, of that wire or of that specific conductor. All right. So I don't know whether when we refer to a conductor, we are also referring to the insulation, because the wire gauge does not cater for the insulation. So when you say that the wire gauge is 10 AWG, remember you are not including the insulation. What is that instrument that is used to measure, you know, the diameter? So when you talk about the diameter, we are definitely referring to the diameter. Talk about the diameter, we are referring to the size. So we also have these two cables here, they are completely different, my top boss. So let me just have this and this. So these are very different cables, all right? So solid conductors as well as the stranded, so each have a different application. When we have these, the solid conductors, it means that in most cases we are wiring, these switches, or we are talking about, you see whether I can get the socket here. So even when wiring this socket, as you can see, or the receptacle or this power outlet, you can see in most cases this is the type of connection that we have on the side where we have these screws. So if we are using this tool here, the first thing to do is to, of course, to strip the wire as I've done. So when we come to this point, you discover that we have the earth connection or the ground wire. So for that case, we will use a nose pliers, long nose. So for the earth connection, we will definitely connect it at this point. And once we connect it like that, see the nose pliers goes all the way, and it ensures that it gives us that perfect connection or that perfect loop right there. Before we can actually take our screwdriver, which is a star, and then tighten that screw. It is as simple as that. So that is how that finds its application. That is what we have. Is it clear? You can see it very clear, right? And then from there we can definitely have the other cables coming in. So for this other one, we have the hot wire, and then we also have the neutral. All right. So for the hot wire, definitely connect it to this point. Every time that you're connecting these cables or these wires to these sockets, it's best that you ensure to read it properly so that you don't confuse. If at all you are doubting, use your multimeter and record what we normally refer to as the continuity. So what is continuity when it comes to electrical? Continuity is a test for the point of connection or contact. So for this, I will test for this screw as well as this to ensure that my multimeter is on. So this side and this side, these are continuing, right? When we check the screen, it is 0 0, meaning that it is actually very low resistance. You come to this side as well, the same thing happens. Find that this and this screw here are one and the same. All right, this is the hot area. All right, and then this is where you connect the white or the black. All right, so you can either connect on this lower side or on this upper side, and then the other screw will remain for termination, connecting to maybe a socket that is below it, or if you are looping it to another socket. So what we do is simply use our nose plier like there. Then because this is the hot termination, are you able to see it clearly? Let me just have my camera well placed so that you can see that together. Also, if you have not subscribed to my channel, kindly subscribe. If these are some of the videos that you love to watch, let me also know where you are streaming from. And if you'll be watching this live stream as a recorded version, I'll really appreciate you giving it a thumbs up and also subscribing to my channel. So this is our outlet. So we are definitely connecting it at that point. We have established that indeed there is continuity here. As you can see, this metallic part inside there is actually continuing, right? So even if you just wanted to be sure about everything, and take your digital multimeter, you place your first probe on that point. There's a probe there. You can see that there is continuity. That beeping sound, as well as the multiple zeros, indicate that there is zero to negligible resistance. All right, so that is what we mean by continuity. Okay, thank you so much for the likes. I see them, and I really do appreciate. Judge says he's watching from Zambia. Appreciated, glad to have you here, Judge. So when you test that and that as well, there's continuity. All right, but if you want to prove whether there is continuity between the hot wire and the neutral, we see that there is a 1. A 1 in electrical or in a digital multimeter stands for infinity, meaning there is no connection, especially when we are recording continuity. That means infinity, or it means there is no connection, right? So since this is the hot wire, and red being our hot wire, that is what we're going to do using our nose pliers. We'll simply have it go all the way like that. Then just elongate it at that point. So as you can see, what remains is for us to do that. Take the screwdriver, just reduce that size of the there you have it. Awesome. So that is what we have. Is it clear? And then for the other connection, assuming that we want to loop another receptacle that is either from this point to another point, you can definitely loop the hot wire at this point. So this being the supply to this receptacle or to this outlet, will definitely have another hot wire connected at this point, linking or looping the other outlet at this point, so that the other outlet is also supplied. So doing the same at this point, we will also have the wire coming at this point, go all the way round, and then turn it with these nose pliers like that. Then we tighten it. So that is the benefit of using tight connections, when it comes to electrical installations. So ensure that everything is tight at this point and at this point. So for the neutral, the hot wire, everything is tightened, including the ground wire at the green screw at this point. So if you want to loop another socket, you will simply connect at this point, connect at this point, and also of course for the ground wire, and then have them connected. Isn't it incredible? So that is how it goes. All right, now we have another type of cable, and I will also be introducing another connection right here, another way of stripping the cable. So this is a 2.5. This cable is a 2.5. When it comes to stripping it, I think I would definitely go with a side cutter as well as pliers, and also these. So for this one, a lot comes to play. So let's assume we want to strip it from scratch, and we want to cut it. We want to cut these extra wires. So I'll simply cut like that. Now, right, simply cut at that point. Assuming I just want to proceed using this tool alone, I'll then take advantage of that point, then strip it just a little bit, right? And then just press on that far end so that I may not come off with a lot of cables, and simply pull out some parts like that, and using my fingers, simply do like that. So for the remaining sheath, it is also very simple, just to pave some way so that I can strip. So the moment I do that, the other side is very simple, as you can see. So just proceed and do that. Strip the cable. And then cut. So we already have stripped the sheath, and therefore what we have is the hot wire, have the ground, and we have the neutral. So to strip it, simply just gently press on the sheath, right, like that. Gently press, and then using this thumb, I will leverage on that and definitely push it towards the outside like that. Does it make sense? So I have my hot wire, stripped. I also have my neutral stripped, and I also have the earth connection, which is usually bare. So in many cases you find that this type of wire is used in outlet as well, but if we want to use it for this kind of a switch, definitely it doesn't make sense because of the connection at this point. So that may lead to a loose connection. All right. Also for the socket that I've just demonstrated, it won't be a good connection. But when it comes to a single socket, a single power outlet such as this one, the UK standard, then it makes a lot of sense because the strands have to go in and then we tighten them. Tightening them using a flat screwdriver, right? So at this point you find that even if I were to use this screwdriver here, just to unscrew those screws, then when it comes to the line, do the same. There is a very important aspect when it comes to the stranded cables. We want to make sure that we backfold. Backfolding is important because it reinforces or strengthens that connection, make it strong, make it tighter. So that is what you are going to do, my top boss. If already you're getting value out of our today's stream, kindly smash the like button. And if you'll be watching this video as a recorded version, I'll really appreciate your thumbs up as well as your subscription to the channel so that we can continue inspiring especially the beginner electricians. All right. So that is backfolding, just to increase the surface area as well as increase the chances that when all these cables go in, we definitely screw them. But now, once we connect these cables like so, we have this cable to go in, but there is a problem. This cable or this wire is the earth wire. If at all we leave it bare and by any chance this line is loose or it's probably come out of this connection here due to a loose screw or any cause, it means that they will come in contact. Remember, a line and a ground coming in contact is a recipe for disaster. That is a short circuit. Current will definitely be flowing to the ground, which definitely leads to a lot of problem. First of all, there will be tripping of the circuit breaker that is supplying power or current to this specific line, meaning that many other power sources or many other outlets that are connected to these circuits that rely on that single circuit breaker will be affected. There will not be any supply of current to them. So we want to make sure that first, when we are screwing these screws to the cables, the first thing first is to ensure that we tighten individual screws that are connected to the wires. So that is the first thing. Second thing, you go one by one and you don't screw on the insulation. All right, make a tight screw but don't screw on the insulation. So you just be vigilant as you're screwing. So you make a tight connection like that. But again, we need to cover this earth connection. Any suggestions how we can do that? We need to cover this earth connection so that we are remaining with only parts this only the part with this part as the only one that we have to screw the back folded part, so that we don't risk it coming off or the face coming off and coming in contact with it and bringing a lot of troubles to the circuit. So what is the suggestion? What is your best suggestion? We can use this tape or we can use shrinking sleeves. So this is an insulation tape, it's a yellow one. We can use a green tape. For now what I have is the yellow one. Would you go for shrink sleeves or would you go for a tape? Again, using a shrink sleeve, you don't necessarily have to shrink it. You can just cut that size and then have it go all the way. Can I get a shrink sleeve? Yes, that would be the best idea, so that we can demonstrate how easy and quick it is to do that. Thank you so much for the likes. I see them and I appreciate. It means a lot to me. So thank you so much for your patience. I have several size sleeves here. I have quite a lot of them. I've really invested in these shrinking sleeves. So you have different colors. So there's a size that I'm particularly interested in. Look at all that. All these are shrink sleeves. Trying to find the end or the start. Here we go. So I can just use my knife. I have several shrink sleeves types here, or sizes, and also different colors. So as you can see, have the blue one here, also have the black, also have the red, and apart from that, I also have a heat gun. This heat gun is from Total. I don't know whether it's the best, but I'm not saying it's the best, but yeah, it really works. Really works. But now there's no point of using a heat gun There's no point of using bigger or large sized shrinking tubes. All you can do is to simply have it go through these points. So if we can just get cables back to their original form so that I can have them go all the way. See, go all the way, just to be sure that that cable will be safe. It's a bit longer. Okay, so if I intend to use up to this point, simply have it come out like that, and then carefully cut it like that so that I have it go all the way. Given that allowance for back folding purposes, right? So using my pliers, I just stretch a little bit at that point. Just try to have the strands all the way back together, and then have that opportunity to back fold the strands together. Right, so that I can have it go all the way. Then because this provision here is a little bit bigger, can as well fold it again so that it is a smaller back folding and creating a tighter grip, as well as, very importantly, be a very good connection for safety. Remember, when it comes to earthing, what is usually very, very important is the aspect of safety. You can have earthing connections properly done, but again, if it does not protect the user, there is a huge problem. So we have it going all the way like that, right? Before I can screw, tighten that screw. Please note that for you to carry out this work on the ground, you have to be certified. This video or this live stream is only for educational or enlightening purposes only. Please adhere to your region's specifications for you to carry out such work. All right. So as you can see, we have the hot wire already connected. We have the ground wire where we have used this shrink sleeve to ensure that we protect it, connect it in a proper manner. See, even in this cable here, just the same. Instead of leaving the ground wire like that, bare, exposed, we have ensured that we have the shrink sleeve. Will not shrink it necessarily, but it is insulated. And as you can see, it is safer for the user once it has been connected, to that power. Power is switched back. If someone is using that outlet, the UK outlet, they are very safe, right? Given that you have also tightened the connections. Incredible, awesome. Yeah, so something else, when it comes to using the stripping tools, is definitely pliers. I know most of you have been waiting for this. Pliers comes in handy. It's very fast. Again, like we said, you just have to press on the sheath or the insulation just a little bit, then using your thumb you push the pliers outside. Also be very careful not to dent on these wires. all right, not to dent on the wires. Once you want to cut, the pliers also comes in handy. Can cut, can strip the cable, can help you in terms of back folding, like that. It is very fast, plus very, very convenient. Cutting, back folding, twisting, a pliers comes in handy. All right, yeah, so that is that. And then when we come to yet another tool which we have already talked about, but we can as well talk about it further, which is the nose pliers or the long nose. Allow me to use the earth connection. The reason why I prefer it and I like it so much is because this earth is the point of safety for the customer. So if you are stripping it using a long nose, assuming this is the only tool you have, again gently pressing on the sheath using the thumb to press that long nose pliers away, so you can easily twist that cable, especially if you are using single core conductors. It becomes so easy. If let's say we are talking about these switches, this is a two-way or a three-way switch, becomes so easy working with these nose pliers, right? And we also have another important tool, like I mentioned, which is definitely this one, side cutter. And especially if you are stripping these cables here, again the twin with earth, just cut it. Good thing about it, you can do bulk tasks. Like you see, I didn't have to cut one by one the cables one by one. Simply do that. Because it's a side cutter, you can also use its sharper blades, should I say blades, to simply cut like that, and also to strip. So early in the video I also demonstrated that. Once you do that, you can simply leverage your hands, use your hands, simply strip the cables like that. Side cutter, as you can see, cutting on the sides. When you're working on the ground, you're very fast, all right? You're not as slow as John is here. As you do that, it also becomes super simple for you to strip again. Gently, be gentle on the sheath so that you may not dent individual strands. Remember, we have strands on these cables. So for these ones, we have 7 strands. If you dent one, it means that at the point where you will be terminating or twisting those wires, you might lose one strand. Once a strand is lost, it means that if it were 2.5 or using the American wire gauge 12, isn't it? It will no longer be 12 AWG, or it will no longer be 2.5 mm. So you have to be very careful. The moment you lose one, you have to do that strip again. Makes sense? So that you don't end up with 4 or 5 cables, I mean wires, less 2 or less 3, because that will compromise. Assuming you are connecting an appliance or a machine to that circuit, and that circuit draws a certain amount of current, It means that the cable will strain at that point where the strands are reduced, meaning that there will be a lot of resistance, because again, remember, resistance is dictated by the material of the wire, number one, the distance or the length of the wire, number two, and number three, the size of the wire. That is why AWG, American wire gauge, is very important. is very important because of that. All right, because specific machines, assuming we are talking about motors, can't compare that to other home appliances. You have to be very keen on the size of the wire, because that dictates the performance of that machine, also the electrical safety and the electrical installation longevity. Incredible. Now, let us go to yet another important stripping tool. Second last, I definitely have this one. So for this one, it's simple. It's even easier to use, but again, you have to be very careful in terms of denting the cable itself. This one takes a lot of time, but it is also efficient. And the other downside is that it is risky as you use it. Very, very minimal to zero damage on the individual strands, or the cables, or the wires, I mean, sorry. So assuming you're using a solid conductor, it is hard for you to dent or compromise on the strands, or eventually compromise on the number of the strands that will remain after you have used this tool for stripping purposes, isn't it? So just ensure that you do a good job. Look at that. Very clean, very neat. The wires are not affected. Last but not least, my top boss, we have this stripping tool. Multi-purpose, if you may ask me. It is labeled all the way using AWG from 14, which is a 1.5, 12, which is a 2.5, 10, which is a 6. Is it a 6? Then we also have 8, which is a 10.0, right? So that guides you depending on the wire that you're using or the one that you want to strip. You simply go with that gauge. For instance, I'm using a 4.5, sorry, a 4.0. So this is what I have. So I really do appreciate you joining. This is the last tool that I'm demonstrating before we can end the live. And if you will be watching this stream as a recorded version, kindly don't forget to subscribe. But most importantly, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the tools that I've just shared. So the good thing about this is that you press all the way until the end, and then just push it outside like that. Once you have tightened that connection, you are always sure that at that point it is only touching on the insulation. It will not press on the individual wires, it will not dent the individual strands, and that definitely means that it will not compromise the strands. So by the time that you are making a connection, be it in the socket, be it in any power outlet, or making a connection or a termination between wire to wire, between wire to the appliance or machine, you are sure that it is not dented. So look at that. Strands are very clean. Something else, you can also use it to cut that cable. Okay, it's painful to cut the whole cable. Let me just cut a piece. Bear with me, right? So you can just cut at this point. If the cables are very small, let me also use another piece. It's painful to keep reducing the cables here because I still have other live streams that I use the cables as well as videos to post my content, so there's no point of destroying all the cables. So for this smaller part here, it's for smaller cables that don't require a lot of force, can simply cut at that point. Right, so that is the cable stripper. Very, very important. Right, so then the good thing about it is you can simply lock it. See, just locked, so that even when you are carrying it in the bag, it will take or occupy minimal space. So at the end of the day, which one would you vote for as your most preferred cable stripper or cable stripping tool? Let me just present the three without straining you so much. So this one being A, then B, the middle, and then C. Which one would you go for? A, B, and then C. This is A. Okay, have A, the middle B, then we have C here. So which one would you prefer in your electrical work? Okay. Yeah, so that has been my time, my top bosses. I really do appreciate it. It has been incredible. Us discussing about these electrical stripping tools. They come in handy, especially while we are at the site working. We want to leverage on speed, want to leverage on time, want to leverage on energy. Which one will definitely save you on all those aspects, save you on time, save you on energy, and help you work faster, seamlessly of the three. Let me know in the comment section what you think, my top boss, and I will really be honored to learn about that. Judge has been here, very proactive, and says I would like to go with C. C, as you can see, is multi-purpose, even has that gauging AWG, which definitely guides you on what wire size as well as what gauge to use, because we have 14 all the way to 8. So with the right cable size as well as the right gauge that you choose, then it means that your cable will not be dented, it will not have any issues as you strip it. So yeah, so choose wisely so that your work is not compromised, you work seamlessly, and you achieve very, very incredible results. My top boss, I want to thank you so much for your time. Thank you for tuning in. For my top bosses who have been here live watching me, I really do appreciate. My name is John Gatehi, and this is Top Boss Electricals. Kindly smash the like button if you have gotten some value out of our today's live stream, and if you are watching this as a recorded video, kindly subscribe so that you don't miss any of these live streams as well as any of the videos that I post. Thank you so much. Have yourself a fantastic time.